breaking down every game, every day in Major League Baseball. This is the Baseball Betting Show. Here is your host, Greg Peterson.
Hey, warmer from the low. Welcome to lovely Las Vegas for the Baseball Betting Show with myself, Greg Peterson, now part of the VSiN Family Podcast. We've got an excellent podcast for you as we're going to be joined in segment number 2 by one of our good friends. We're going to be chatting it up with William Boor, who does great work over at Action Network, about what we've all seen here in the early part of the season, some of the disappointments, some of the surprises, if it's sustainable what the Tampa Bay Rays are doing right now in the American League as well. Additionally, we're going to be taking a look at what is going to be a great slate of baseball on Saturday. In the final segment, going to get you guys picks and analysis on every game on the betting board for this baseball Saturday as we touch them all. If you do have a question, comment, segment idea, what have you for this podcast, you have one of two ways we offer those in. First one is my Twitter/X timeline at gunit_81. Keep in mind, there's the they mean does not matter, so as per usual, please do send these into the timeline. And the other way, that is find an Apple Podcast review. If you rate this podcast 5 stars, it's very much appreciated. And then from there, you're able to fire in whatever you'd like to hear on this podcast via that 5-star review. While I did not get in any Twitter/X questions today, we had ourselves a very fun day of baseball on Friday. Let's take a look back at it, try to find some trends, and try to get to know these teams a little bit better.
Games from yesterday is Greg buzzing about. Here is the rowdy recap.
Jacob Mizorowski was just on 100 plus all night long, a lot of 103 mile per hour pitches as the Brewers blanked the New York Yankees 6-0 the final. Mizorowski 2 hits, 11 punchouts, and 6 shutout innings. From there, 3 scoreless innings out of the bullpen from Shane Drowan. And for Max Fried, well, he's mad about the fact that he gave up 5 runs over the course of 6 innings. Brewers just continued to small ball teams to death, 5 of 11 with men in scoring position. And then 1 run given up in 2 innings from Kervin Castro. So that was an interesting one. First appearance of the season for the Yankees, and Brewers, they do find a way to the window there. So do the Astros. They blanked the Cincinnati Reds 10-0 the final. Mike Burrows, a really nice start here. 7 shutout innings. AJ Bluebaugh, along with Logan Van Way, were able to give you a scoreless inning, and Nick Lodolo first start off the injury list, not what he was hoping for. 4 runs allowed in 5 1/3 innings. Yordan Alvarez, 13th home run of the season, and then it was Shane DeZenzo, his first home run of the season. Then Tony Santillan gives up a pair, home run number 3 of the season for Christian Vasquez, and then for Zach Cole, he was able to get his first home run of the season for Santillan, gives up those 2 home runs as he allows in total 4 runs without getting it out of the bullpen. If you, like me, had the under in this game, yeah, I have to be feeling a little bit rough about the fact that that was 5-0 going into the 9th inning, and then you have the backup catcher, Jose Trevino, giving up a run in an inning as well. TJ Antone, run given up in an inning of work, and then Pierce Johnson, 5 outs out of the bullpen, scoreless from him. Lots of scoreless innings from the Toronto Blue Jays. They blink the Angels. This by a count of 2-0. Dylan Cease, 10 punchouts, 7 shutout innings. Jeff Hoffman, Louis Varland, they both give a scoreless inning, and Reed Detmers just knocks himself out of this game. 6 walks allowed in 3 2/3 innings. Only gives up 2 runs, and a really awful Angels bullpen was not bad here as you had Alek Manoah. Yes, that Alek Manoah give you a scoreless inning. Kirby Yates, fresh off the injury list, a scoreless inning. Brent Suter, scoreless inning of his own. Jose Fermin, 4 outs out of the bullpen, scoreless, but damage had been done, and for the Angels, absolutely nothing doing for them at the plate on this night. For Robbie Selling, he does lose his MLB debut. 3-2, the Nationals get the job done against Miami Marlins. Selling gives up all 3 runs in the first inning. As a matter of fact, all 5 runs in this game were scored in the first inning. Selling gives up 3 runs in 5 innings, including a home run to Jacob Young, 3rd home run of the season. From there, he would settle down, and then the bullpen was fine. John King, Tyler Phillips, they were the king of being able to combine for 3 scoreless innings. Anthony Bender, a scoreless inning, and then Foster Griffin gives up a pair in the first inning. 1 was unearned. There were a pair of errors out there on the field as he does allow a home run to Xavier Edwards, 3rd home run of the campaign, but that's all that he gave up over the course of 7 innings. From there, Brad Lord, PJ Poulin, they piecemeal together the final 2 innings scoreless. Lots of scoreless action out there in Boston as the Red Sox get the job done 2-0 over the Tampa Bay Rays. Jesse Schulten's not bad here. 2 runs allowed in 4 2/3 innings, gives up a pair of bombs as Cedon Rafaela, 3rd home run of the campaign, and Wilder Abreu wiles out for a 6th home run of the campaign. Mason Englert in long relief, 3 1/3 innings scoreless, but Connolly early, middle, and late, he was great. 7 shutout innings. Garrett Woodlock, Aroldis Chapman, they both were able to supply a scoreless inning of their own. Lots of scoring out there in Chicago as the Seattle Mariners get a 12-8 win over the White Sox. Sean Burke, 6 runs allowed in 4 1/3 innings. He gets taken deep twice in this one as Luke Raley gets his 7th home run of the season. Then Julio Rodriguez, his 6th home run of the season. Raley would go deep for his 8th home run of the season. This one coming off of the young gun in Tyler Davis, who gives up 3 runs over the course of an inning. Also giving up 3 runs over the course of an inning, Trevor Richards, as he gives one up to Josh Naylor, 5th home run of the season. Sean Newcomb, 5 outs out of the bullpen, scores. Seranthony Dominguez, as a scoreless inning, and Emerson Hancock, some serious regression here. 5 runs allowed over the course of 6 innings as Montaka Murakami, 15th home run this season, and Randall Grichuk, welcome to Chicago. He gets his first home run of the campaign, as that comes when it's a little bit too little too late. Josh Simpson, in his Seattle Mariners debut, he gives up a home run in his inning of work, as you had Edward Bizardo give you a scoreless inning, and Alex Hoppe, not so happy that he gave up 2 runs over the course of an inning, but has to be happy that the Seattle Mariners were able to get the job done there. For the Athletics, they find a way to the winner's circle, 4-3. They're able to take down the Baltimore Orioles. Kyle Bradish, pretty strong in this one. 3 runs allowed over the course of 7 innings. The runs that he gave up, the fielding was not great. He punched out 10. From there, you do have 2 innings pitched by Trey Gibson, the young gun. He gives up a run, but Jacob Lopez was able to put it together here. He gives up a pair of solo home runs over the course of 2 innings of work. Pete Alonso is 8th home run season. Adley Rushman is 5th. And then from there, Justin Cerner, a pair of outside the bullpen squirrels. Scott Barlow, Joe Kuhnel, they both give you a scoreless inning. Jack Perkins gives up a run in the 9th and 2/3 of an inning, but Hogan Harris slams the door. He was able to get the final out to be able to get that one in. Also being able to get this one in, the Colorado Rockies, 9-7. They get the job done in extras over the Philadelphia Phillies. Rockies were up 6-0, and then it was Rocky from there. As Chase Olander, solid start, 2 runs allowed in 5 2/3 innings, does allow a bomb along the way, as it was a Kyle Schwarber bomb, his 13th home run season. And then Justin Crawford, his first home run as a big leaguer, that comes off of Jimmy Harrigan. For Harrigan gives up 2 runs in an inning. Brandon Bernardino, 3 runs allowed in a 1/3 of an inning. Jaden Nill, 8 scoreless inning, but Victor Vodnik, 2 scoreless innings. Juan Mejia, a scoreless 11th inning, as Jesus Luzardo, he was out of this game very early. 6 runs allowed over the course of 3 innings. He just continues to be awful this season. Sutter Goodman, well, he was a good man, taking him deep. 10th home run of the campaign, and then Tyler Freeman would go deep off of Tim Meza. 2nd home run season. Meza, 2 innings, gives up that home run. But Jonathan Bolin, 2 scoreless innings. Bullpen here, honestly, was fine for the Phillies, as Jose Alvarado, Yohan Duran, Orion Kirkring allowed no runs in their inning of work apiece. And then Brad Keller, 2 runs, 1 of which was earned, given up in the 11th, as the team was just running out of arms at that point. A team that did not run out of steam, the Kansas City Royals, 4-3. They're able to take down the Detroit Tigers. As for the Tigers, you had Cadillo Montero give you a really good start. 1 run allowed over the course of 6 innings. Tyler Holden, the scoreless inning, and then Kyle Finnegan gives up a pair of runs without getting it out of the bullpen. Brant Herter, he gives up a run in 1 2/3 innings, with some of those being inherited runners as well. Chris with the K. Bubich, he gives up 3 runs over the course of 5 2/3 innings, but a much maligned Royals bullpen this season comes through. Indra Avila, John Schreiber, Lucas Ursich, all on a scoreless inning, and Nick Mears in out of the bullpen for the Royals, who are now 12-9 at home, and they've won just 6 games away from home. So big home and road splits there. Guardians seem to be waking up with their offense. 6-4. They're able to take down the Minnesota Twins. As for Parker Messick, another nice start here. 1 run allowed in 5 2/3 innings. From there, Matt Fessa had a fiesta, going for a pair of outs out of the bullpen. Did give up 2 runs, so it was a fiesta for Byron Buxton, who took him deep. 12th home run in the campaign. From there, Colin Olderman, pair of outs out of the bullpen. Squirrels, he lives up to his name. Tim Herron, a squirrels inning. Kate Smith does give up a run in an inning, but for the Twins, Connor Prelip, not what he was looking for. 4 runs allowed over the course of 5 innings. He only gave up 4 hits, and only 1 of those runs was earned because Lucas Shaw had a really bad fielding error that killed him, and then he would give up a home run to Travis Bazzana, former number 1 overall pick, his first career home run. From there, Cody Funderburk, a run allowed in 1 1/3 innings. Eric Orze, along with Yandris Gomez, combined for 3 outs out of the bullpen. Squirrels, but Anthony Banda doing what he does best. He gives up a run in 2/3 of an inning. Nice hearty 8.27 ERA for him. So Guardians find a way to be able to get that one in. Another team that was able to get a nice win in convincing fashion, that'd be the Chicago Cubs, 7-1. They get the job done over the Texas Rangers. Rangers just not hitting right now. 2 hits in this game. Kumar Rocker, well, he got rocked. He had given up 1 career home run in Arlington prior to this. Well, he's now giving up 2 because Seiya Suzuki, oh, I see you with your 7th home run of the campaign. 3 runs allowed in 3 2/3 innings for Rocker. From there, Cal Quantrill gives up 4 runs in 3 1/3 innings, hurt by a bad fielding error, so only 1 of them was earned. Tyler Alexander, Jacob Junis from there, both on his scoreless inning. Ben Brown and Javier Assad piggyback off of one another. 4 scoreless for Brown, Javier Assad, 3 2/3 innings scoreless. Ryan Rollison along the way did give up a run in a 1/3 of an inning, but you had Ethan Roberts give you a scoreless inning as well, so the Rangers find a way to be able to get it done there. Padres offense right now is just spiraling in mediocrity. 6-0. The Cardinals shut out the Padres. As for the Padres, Griffin Canning got canned. 6 runs allowed in 4 1/3 innings. Michael McGreevy, not a strikeout guy, 1 hit in 6 shutout innings, 9 punch-outs. From there, Gordon Gassefo, 2 scoreless innings. Ryan Stanek, a scoreless inning. Padres bullpen was fine. Wandy Peralta, Ron Menadaccio, they both give you a scoreless inning. Yuki Matsui, 2 2/3 innings scoreless, but A lot of nothing doing there for the San Diego Padres, but something doing for the Metropolitans. 3-1, they get the job done over the Arizona Diamondbacks. With the Diamondbacks, they just couldn't hit Noel McLean, who gives up 1 run in 6 innings. That 1 run, a solo home run to Nolan Arenado, 6th home run of the campaign. From there, Brooks Raley, Devin Williams, Tobias Myers, Luke Weaver, all on his squirrel setting. Ryan Nelson, he was good in this game as well. 6 2/3 innings, gives up a solo home run to Mark Vientos, 5th home run of the season. From there, Juan Murillo, a scoreless inning plus an out of the bullpen, so 4 outs for him. Kevin Ginkel, he gives up 2 runs, one of which was earned in the 10th inning before Jonathan Loaizaga cleans up the mess. You did have Brandon Garcia give you a scoreless inning, but Diamondbacks down 17-20, so a little bit rough out there, but this was not rough for these guys as you're able to have the San Francisco Giants find a way 5-2 over the Pittsburgh Pirates. It has been a little bit rough for the Giants thus far this season, but Robbie Ray set it per parade, giving up just 1 run in 6 innings. That 1 run, a solo home run to Marcell Ozuna, 4th home run of the season. From there, Caleb Killian does give up a run in an inning, but Keaton Wynn, Matt Gage, they both give you a scoreless inning. Giants, lowest bullpen ERA in the National League, by the way. Carmen Molzinski, pretty solid start, 2 runs allowed in 6 innings, does give up a home run to Rafael Devers, 4th home run of the season, but then from there, Justin Lawrence gives up 3 runs. He doesn't get a single out of the bullpen. Evan Sisk was able to come in for a scoreless inning. You also had that from Cam Sanders, but by then, the damage had very much been done, and right now doing a lot of damage has been betting unders thus far this season in Major League Baseball because it has been very much an overwhelming season thus far. We've been seeing the over rate hitting at a little bit over 52%, but if you look at the last 7 days in baseball, it's been an underpalooza. 54 unders, 38 overs, and we've had 3 pushes along the way, so 58.7% to the under here in the last 7 days. Favorites, they're hitting at about 56% in the last 7 days, 52 and 40 on the money line. Run lines are not hitting, though. 12 of those favorites failed to cover the run line. Overall for the season, the over rate right around 52%, 292 overs to 270 unders, and I believe we have 16 pushes along the way. Favorites, meanwhile, 55.8% on the money line, 316 and 250, but among those favorites, we have now seen a grand total of 64 not be able to cover the run line. So that's what we're seeing in baseball right now, and that's what we're getting trend-wise. Coming next, how about if we do chat it up with our good friend William Boor of Action Network right here on the Baseball Betting Show with myself, Greg Peterson, now a part of the Beast Family Podcast.
Breaking down every game, every day in Major League Baseball. This is the Baseball Betting Show. Here is your host, Greg Peterson.
And we're back here in lovely Las Vegas for the Baseball Betting Show with myself, Greg Peterson, now part of the Beast Family Podcast. Always great to be joined by this man, as we've got William Boor aboard. He does such a tremendous job looking at this great game of baseball over at Action Network. I know that he's in tune with a little bit of everything that we're seeing right now. Does a great job on so many different fronts. That includes the football front. That includes pretty much anything that you're able to bet out here in North America. That includes hot dog eating contests in a few months. You're able to follow him on the old Twitter /X at the letter W, last name Boor, Boor, all together. And William, always a pleasure, my friend. Thank you.
Of course, Greg, always happy to hop on, talk betting, talk hot dogs, talk whatever you want.
Absolutely. Hot dogs are going to wait a little bit, but you know what? I always enjoy a hot dog whenever I'm watching some baseball, and I always enjoy talking some baseball with you. And just what have you made out of the first 6 weeks of the season? Because it certainly has been, I would say, a little bit up and down, and I feel like a lot of the teams that have been, for lack of a better term, dominating, having really good start to the seasons, have been sort of overshadowed by a lot of the disappointments that we've had thus far.
Yeah, there were a lot of disappointments early. I think we're starting to see some changes. We're starting to see some surging teams. Obviously, the Yankees have just gone on a big run. A lot of people are talking about the Cubs. I think some of those storylines and some of those teams that were really underwhelming early, I mean, I know why we were talking about them because it was so shocking to see them playing so bad. But now I think people are trying to be optimistic. They're starting to talk more about the teams that are surging and some of those bad teams. I mean, I think last time I was on, we talked about if we had more faith than the Phillies or the Mets, and there's still a long way to go, but now we've got a Phillies team that's won 8 of 10. And some of those weird, crazy stories are starting to kind of correct themselves and regress to the mean a little bit.
Absolutely, and I think the biggest of them is the Philadelphia Phillies, because for the Mets, I don't know if they're out of the woods yet. I certainly don't think they're going to be the worst team in all of baseball like they were for about a month or so, but I still don't have a lot of faith in them. But how do you take a look at this Phillies team, in which I know that they lost that game on Thursday in rather convincing fashion against the Athletics, but feels like Donnie Baseball has this team back online, and getting back Zach Wheeler, I don't think I'm sharing trade secrets here, and it's been pretty big for them as well.
Yeah, I mean, last time I was on, we talked about how getting Wheeler is a big energy boost to the team. The kind of effect that we see teams have, at the trade deadline when they go out and acquire someone and you give that team that added jolt of confidence. Obviously, Wheeler wasn't an acquisition, but I wouldn't be shocked if the energy in that clubhouse felt the same way. So you get, the firing of the manager, which probably wakes everyone up a little bit. You get your ace back. And then let's face it, we knew, even though they started bad, we knew that roster was talented. You get those couple things to maybe shake off the cobwebs, wake some people up, and all of a sudden you've got a talented roster playing like a talented roster.
Yep, absolutely. And I do think that that's going to be massive for them moving forward. If they can get a little bit more out of the offense, I think that that is going to be huge moving forward. And I think that they're a team that is starting to get online. But even if they do, they have dug themselves quite a bit of a hole to the Atlanta Braves. And just how do you take a look at this bunch? Because I think there are probably a few people that are maybe a little bit surprised by the start of the season, but I actually think they can get better from here because now they're finally getting back Spencer Strider, who's going to be going on Saturday, and they've done this all with Ronald Acuna Jr. either A, being injured, or B, not being himself.
This is the Braves that we saw. I mean, you and I are roughly the same age. Like growing up, the Braves were always good. And then the past year or two, injuries hit, and all of a sudden we were like it was weird last year just to see them like not being good. And now they're back. So it's not even surprising. I think Atlanta is just a well-run organization. It has been for a couple decades, that no matter who's there, you're just going to get good baseball. They're always going to be in the thick of it. Did I expect them to be 8 games up in this division in early May? No. But I think that's more about what the Phillies and the Mets haven't done. Like, I'm not shocked that the Braves are winning this division. I'm shocked at the gap, but that's because of the teams that are trailing them, not because I didn't think that they'd be good.
Yep, I certainly thought that they'd be good. I didn't know if I quite saw this coming with all the injuries. Spencer Schwellenbach, throw him in there. I mentioned Ronald Acuna Jr., Sean Murphy. Like, they're not even at full strength yet, and they have been doing this. But now they face off against the LA Dodgers on Saturday, and for the Dodgers, they get back Blake Snell. They're now pretty Mondo-sized favorites, and I mentioned Strider, he's going to be going in this game. Right now, the Dodgers are minus 165, minus 170, and in a normal Blake Snell start, I could maybe get there. Even if it was a normal Blake Snell start, I still think this would be high, but I want to get your thoughts because I love Blake Snell, but it always feels like in his first start or two of the season, he always struggles.
Yeah, this is a pass for me just because you want to see Strider too. I just kind of want to see where everyone's at. This is going to be more of a informative look for me. You just kind of want to see how they look on the mound, how many pitches everyone goes. Just really want to use this to evaluate. I think it's obviously a very intriguing matchup. Like, I'm definitely going to watch, but there are a ton of baseball games every single day. Obviously, you know this, but like, just for everyone else, like, you don't need to force plays, even though the game's super exciting. Like, there's plenty of baseball to bet on tomorrow and over the next couple months. So it's okay to just be like, hey, you know what? That game's fun. I'm just going to watch it.
Yep, and could actually be a sneaky over as well. Total of 8.5, 2 really good offenses. I don't think Snell is going to be throwing his full allotment of pitches. Strider looks shaky in his first start of the season, so might be getting a lot of bullpen use out there. So I think that that is certainly going to be a fun one, as we do have William Boor, does such great work over at Action Network, joining me on the Baseball Betting Show, and this one I think is going to be very interesting as well. We've got Yankees versus Brewers, and Cam Schlittler, he has been incredible for the New York Yankees. Like, I'm not sure how you take a look at the Cy Young race, but if I had to give a vote today, and obviously it's very early on in the season, I'd be giving it to Cam Schlittler personally out there in the American League, going up against a guy Kyle Harrison, who I don't know if he's quite on Cy Young level yet, but he has been really good for the Brewers as well. Total 7.5, Yankees minus 145 favorites. Any sort of a lean year because I really love this pitching matchup, and typically 7.5 is a really low total to go under, but I think this is one of those cases where I'd be willing to.
Yeah, this pitching matchup's really, really intriguing. This is really, really good. I like the way the Yankees have been playing. And, it's hard the way the Yankees have been playing lately, the way they're hitting. You've got Cam on the mound, who's obviously just putting up zeros. It's hard to pass on that. Obviously, Kyle Harrison's throwing the ball really well, too. You don't want to fade him, but to me, I lean Yankees in this spot. But this again is a really exciting matchup and really a fun game to watch.
Yeah, we do have ourselves some giant series out there. We also have ourselves some not so giant series as well. But you know what? We do have ourselves some very fun games that are going to be going down. And this one I think is interesting as well because we've talked about some of the disappointing teams and how some of them have righted the ship. Red Sox really have not righted the ship. They've been a little bit better recently, but that's an issue. And right now for the Red Sox, they're about minus 150, minus 155 favorites against the Rays with Nick Martinez going. And I don't think Nick Martinez is going to continue to have a sub 250 ERA for the rest of the season. But this just feels like the market is still disrespecting the Tampa Bay Rays. And this just feels like a number that's too high.
Will Nick Martinez's ERA be under 2 in September?
No.
Probably not. But we're not betting this game in September. We're betting this game on May 9th. So right now, he has given up 2 earned runs over his past 3 starts. That's 2 runs over 20 innings. He hasn't given up more than 2 runs in a start all year, and I'm getting him at plus money. Eventually, yes, his probably regression is going to hit, but right now I'm going to ride it. And if I'm getting this at plus money, I mean, to me, this is a no-brainer.
And it's not even like it's an insignificant like plus 105, plus 110. I'm seeing this at like plus 130, even a little bit higher out there as well. And do you feel like the market just has not caught up with the Rays because they've been the team that I've been consistently finding value on all season long? And I don't know if they're going to win 63+% of their games, but it just feels like the market is not respecting the small ball in the way that the Rays just maybe don't have a lot of sexiness, maybe not a lot of flash, but just find a way to get the job done.
Yeah, I'm with you. I mean, I think that's story of the Tampa Bay Rays, like since they've been existent, right? Like whether it's the betting market or the price or just, people non-betting, if you talk about like season previews, there's just so many big brands in that division. We always talk about the Yankees. We talked about the Red Sox. The Blue Jays were in the World Series last year and they add Dylan Cease. The Orioles add Pete Alonso. You just always talk about all this stuff going on in the AL East. And it's always like, oh yeah, Tampa Bay's in that division too. But like as we're recording this, I mean, they're 9-1 in their past 10 games. They've won 7 straight, like plus 19 run differential. Everything's going well for them. Like they're just a hard fade right now.
Yep, I'm right there with you, and I love what I'm seeing out of the Tampa Bay Rays right now, and that's a team that I think has some staying power, because right now in the American League, you only have 3 teams really entering Thursday, that is, that were above 500, so when this comes out, there might be 4 teams above 500, but that'd be the Yankees, the Rays, and the Athletics. I believe that the Guardians might be above 500 as well, but how do you take a look at this American League? Because I do think that the Yankees are the creme de la creme team, but the Rays, who are all alone in second place, I think they have staying power as perhaps the second best team in the American League for the remainder of the season.
Yeah, especially you look at the American League as a whole. Yankees really good, Rays good. I'm not a big believer in the A's. I don't think that lasts. I don't think the Guardians can hit enough over the course of the season. I do expect more from Seattle as the season wears on. So I think that might be a team I look at towards, futures. Or if we're just like thinking out loud here, is I'm probably going to be pretty high on the Mariners throughout the summer. And then it kind of gets into a crapshoot where you do get into the Rays. If you tell me that the Tigers pick it up, I'm interested. The Rangers, if DeGrom's healthy, Leiter starts throwing well, like I could see some stuff. It gets interesting with a lot of teams. If you tell me the Blue Jays, catch fire, like I could believe that. But I do really think the Yankees stand alone kind of at the top right now. And then there's probably like 5 or 6 teams that are in like my tier B.
Yep, I'm right there with you, and it's been really interesting to look at a lot of these teams and just the ups and downs we've been seeing in the American League, to say the least, as William Boor does such great work over at Action Network, joining me on the Baseball Betting Show. And one of those teams that is above 500 is the Cleveland Guardians. It's going to be Tanner Bybee against Joe Ryan, and for the Guardians, they're like minus 110, minus 115 favorites with a total of 7.5, and do want to get your thoughts on this one, because one thing I've noted about Tanner Bybee, completely different pitcher at home rather than away from home. He had big splits last year. He's got even bigger splits this year. And for Minnesota, I feel like I can rely upon Joe Ryan for a good start. I also feel like I can rely upon the Minnesota Twins bullpen to absolutely yak away the game and give up a bunch of runs.
So we kind of got a catch 22 here. Do you buy into Minnesota's bullpen imploding, or do you buy into Cleveland's offense helping pitching staffs get right? That's just been my problem with the Guardians, is even when I like their starter and like think there's a good matchup, as soon as they give up 2 runs, I'm in a full-blown like panic and sweat because I'm just not sure where the offense is coming from.
Yep, I'm right there with you. And for the Cleveland Guardians, but looking a little bit better with their offense recently. Brian Rocchio, Daniel Sheeman have been a little bit better this year. And man, the likes of Kyle Manzardo and company have not been better recently. So that's been an issue as well. And William, we do have ourselves a really interesting slate on this Saturday. We've got all 30 teams in action, a few TBDs, but a lot is known. Is there anything else that's really standing out to you, whether that be a game that you want to bet or just a game that you want to kick back, relax, and watch?
Yeah, so another game I'm betting is I'm looking over at Reds Astros. We've got Spencer Arrighetti going for Houston. Got a 1.96 ERA, which is obviously very good. Dig in a little deeper. You've got an xERA of 5.75, so regression is definitely expected to hit there. And then on the other side, Chase Burns, his numbers are a little more true with ERA 2.19, xERA 2.98. Plus, he's just really fun to watch pitch, if we're being honest. We don't have to go into all the numbers. I just really like watching Chase Burns throw the ball. 95% percentile in whiff percentage. He just throws a lot of strikes. He throws hard. He gets a lot of swing and miss. Just really fun pitcher. The Reds have a fun offense. They have a lot of fun players on that team. So I'm probably just going to be on the Reds watching that as well.
Also like that over because you mentioned with Spencer Arrighetti, he is doing for a lot of regression, not just because of the fact that I don't think that the ERA is sustainable. 5.5 walks per 9 innings, which knocks you out of the start early, and that Astros bullpen out of 30 teams, 30th in bullpen ERA. So I am right there with you there. Too. Yep, Great American Small Park. That's always a lot of fun. And I do think that the Reds, they're finding it a little bit more on offense as well. And we always find our groove whenever we've got William aboard. My friend, you're doing such great work over at Action Network on so many different fronts. So let the good people at home know what's all on tap for you and how people can follow along on social media and other platforms.
Of course. Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it, and Blue Sky at WBoor, WBOOR. I'm also in the Action Network app at William Boor _, all one word. That's where all my picks and all my bets are logged. But don't just follow me. Go to actionnetwork.com, download our app, see all the content we've got. We've got articles, betting labs, everything up for every MLB game, all the NBA, NHL playoffs, WNBA. Season is now underway, so we've got stuff to bet for that. We got horse racing coming up next week, all sorts of stuff. If you can bet it, we've got it. So hopefully visit our site and hopefully become a little bit of a better.
Absolutely. And William, he's doing a great job on so many different fronts every single time he joins me. Learned such great insights and did so once again today. So big thanks to William for joining me on the Baseball Betting Show, now part of the VSiN Family Podcast. And coming up next, it is that time of the podcast. I give you picks and analysis on every game on the betting board for this Baseball Saturday as we touch them all.
Breaking down every game, every day in Major League Baseball. This is the Baseball Betting Show. Here is your host, Greg Peterson.
And we're back here in lovely Las Vegas for the Baseball Betting Show with myself, Greg Peterson, now part of the VSiN Family Podcast. Always great to be joined by William Boor, who does such great work over at Action Network, looking at this great game that we all know and love of baseball. Every single time he joins me, he lends such great insights and did so once again today. So big thanks to William for joining me in the last segment. Now it is that time of the podcast. I give you picks and analysis on every game on the betting board for this Baseball Saturday as we touch them all.
If a game is listed on the betting board, Greg has a side and a total on it, so it is time to touch them all.
Do note that as per usual, any changes that are made to these plays will be listed up on my Twitter/X feed at @June_81. We are going to be going in Las Vegas rotation order. This is where we go with the National League games first in time order, then the American League games, and the Intra-League games. Those are going to be at the bottom. That'll keep things all nice, clean, and easy. How about if we get things started with 901, 902 on the card? The Nationals are on the road against the Marlins. Jansen Junk hopes to not live up to his name for Miami, and Zach Littell goes for Washington. Washington is an underdog, plus 125 to plus 132. Meanwhile, minus 150 to minus minus 156 is that number on the fish end. 8.5 is the total. Over is minus 110 to a minus 115. Under is minus 105 to a minus 110. Do be looking to see if there's going to be an opener as well for the Nationals. If you see like PJ Poulin or something like that, they're still going to be going with Littell, but that said, they're going to be utilizing an opener because they've done that a few times for him. And for Littell, he's actually coming off a halfway decent appearance against the Milwaukee Brewers. Prior to that, he had given up 8 runs, a few of them unearned, but 8 runs in each out of his previous 3 starts. He's got a 7.24 ERA. 843 fielding independent with 3.6 home runs per 9 innings, getting 4.7 strikeouts per 9. Just an unbackable side here. I set the Marlins at a minus 167 on the money line. If you're looking at that run line, you're going to be able to get that at Mondo plus money. I'm seeing north of plus 125. I'm going to be willing to take that with Jansen Junk. He does a good job in terms of not beating himself. He's not going to go out there and light the world on fire, and his strikeout numbers are so better than Zach Littell was at like 4.7 strikeouts per 9 innings. Junk, he's more around about 6.3 strikeouts per 9 innings, 0.7 home runs, 1.9 walks allowed per 9 innings, 282 ERA, 345 fielding independent. Now he does go up against Washington Nationals team that has been a top 10 team in terms of run creation, but they really mash lefties. They don't necessarily do the best job against right-handed pitchers, so that's something that you do have to be very, very cautious of for this Washington bunch. You've been able to get a lot of production out of your main 2 guys, CJ Abrams along with James Wood. They've been able to combine for 19 home runs. Both of these guys have been able to supply at least a 375 on base. Some of the ancillary guys have been solid as well. Joey Weimer has been able to hit above a 300, but you need a little bit more on something like Nasim Nunez, Brady House. These are guys that are hitting for less than a 240 with not necessarily a ton of power. Keibert Ruiz has never really panned out for the team, though. Do like Dan Lyle hitting like a 245. Flip side for the Marlins, this is a group that is very much going to be looking to just play small ball because you've got one guy in Liam Hicks who's been amazing, 8+ home runs. He's been able to hit above a 300, but outside of that, you don't have a lot of power hitters. Getting back Kyle Sowers and Christopher Morales should be able to help out a little bit, but they have yet to find that home run form. But Xavier Edwards, Otto Lopez, Javier Sanja, these are all guys that are giving you at least a 345 on base, all getting at least a 275 in the case of Lopez and Edwards, well above a 300. You've been able to get a little bit of something out of the backup catcher in Joe Mack as well, so he's been able to find a way on. And for the Marlins, they enter in the series a top 10 team in terms of bullpen area, been able to get a lot of production out of the likes of a John King and Michael Peterson, or give you some 325 ERA, along with Blake Bakar, who's been a nice long guy. And they've had Kelvin Fauché, Anthony Bender last year had sub 350 ERAs, really struggled this year, and they should be able to round into form. Meanwhile, for the Nationals, they're a little bit better with their bullpen from a season ago, still a bottom 10 team in terms of bullpen ERA. Gus Farland, Richard Dickey, Lovelady are give you a sub 350 ERA. PJ Poulin, who might be an opener here, he and Paxton Schultz have been able to give you a sub 4 ERA, so it's a little bit more respectable, but I do think that Littell gets lit up here, so plus 115 or better. Looking at the Marlins run line, and do like the over, so my total at an 8.8, 903, 904 on the card. The Rockies are going to be on the road facing off against the Philadelphia Phillies. Aaron Nola hopes to be super for the Phils, and Kyle Freeland is on the bump for Colorado. Colorado does find themselves as a pretty sizable underdog here, between plus 152 to a plus 163. Meanwhile, minus 180 to minus 199 is that number on the Phillies. If you're looking to lay a run half with the Phils, you're going to be finding that right around about plus 115, and total on scheme it is 8.5. The under is minus 110 to a minus 115, and the over is minus 105 to a minus 110, and I'm going to be willing to take a shot here on the Phillies run line at a plus 108 or better with the Phillies. I recognize that Aaron Nola has not been great to say the least. Last season he had a 6.01 ERA, was giving up 1.7 home runs per 9 innings, coming off of by far his best start of the season against the Miami Marlins, 6 shutout innings. Still has been a rough season for him. 5.06 ERA. He's given up in that neighborhood about 1.4 home runs, 3.1 walks per 9 innings, but I still don't really trust in Kyle Freeland a ton as well. He does a pretty solid job in terms of not hurting himself with walks or anything like that, but he just pitches to a lot of contact. About 8.6 strikeouts per 9 innings this year, about a career 6.8 strikeouts per 9, so I do think that that's going to regress a little bit. He's got a 474 fielding dependent with 1.4 home runs, nearly 3 walks per 9 innings of his own, and for the Phillies, they have been a bottom 10 team in terms of run creation thus far this season, but go back to last year when they were a top 3 team in the big leagues in terms of scoring at home. I do think that they're going to find that a little bit more. Kyle Schwarber doesn't hit for average, but gives you a 350 on base, 12 plus home runs as far this season. Bryce Harper over a 360 on base. He's been able to fly 9 home runs. It's about getting those infielders to be able to get online. They've been dealing with injuries at the catcher spot all season long. Getting back JT Realmuto should be able to help out, but Trey Turner is hitting less than a 240 right now. Bryson Stott, Alec Boehm, these guys hitting less than a 220 with not a lot of power. Adolis Garcia has been neither here nor there. And then on the flip side for the Rockies, this team was averaging just 2.8 runs per game on the road away from home last season. They've been much better this season. They're still going to be a team that has demonstrative home and road splits, but you could trust in it a little bit more. TJ Bromfield along with Tristan Freeman are hitting about a 280. Hunter Goodman continues to supply 10 plus home runs. He's hitting for about a 240, so the average is down a little bit, but he's able to give you that power. Need a bit more out of Ezekiel Tovar, Kyle Karros, but Karros is at the very least getting on base. And then additionally, you've been able to get a lot of production out of Troy Johnson as well, though he's been in and out of the lineup last few days. Rockies are right around 20th in terms of opening area, which considering their home ballpark is Coors, that's actually not terrible. Victor Vodnik has been terrible in this bullpen, but Antonio Senzatella, sub 2 ERA, Jay Nill, Jimmy Arrieta, Juan Mejia, they're all coming off of a sub 425 ERA last season. They pick up Brandon Bernardino in the offseason. He's been able to give you sub 2 ERA. And then on the flip side for the Phillies, getting back their main closer in Yohan Duran should be able to help out quite a bit because they've had to use quite a bit of the bullpen. Jesus Cesardo, he only went 3 innings yesterday. They did burn up some of the bad pitchers like Jonathan Bolin and company yesterday, so that should be able to help you out in terms of relieving yourself of the less than trustworthy guys. Ryan Kerkering be able to give you a sub 3 ERA. Last season, Brad Keller, he had a sub 325 with the Cubs, up to about 4 this season, but do think that runs into form a little bit, and I do think that the Rockies, after a nice outburst yesterday, they regress with that offense, and feels like Aaron Nola is starting to come into his own. Plus 108 or better. I'm going to be willing to take a shot here on the run line of the Philadelphia Phillies, and I do like this total to the under. I saw my total at an 8.2, 905, 906 on the card. The St. Louis Cardinals are going to be on the road against the San Diego Padres. Randy Vasquez is on the bump for the Pods, and Dustin May hopes that's Mayday for the Padres. The total is 8 with the over and under anywhere between minus 105 to a minus 115. Padres are favorites of anywhere between minus 135 to a minus 145, plus 119 to a plus 125 is that number on the Cardinals. And with the Cardinals, I would need at least a plus 153 to be able to take a shot here. I'm going to be willing to lay the money line here with the Padres, set them at a minus 153. For Randy Vasquez, he's just looked like a completely different pitcher this far this season. I still don't necessarily know if he's as good as the ERA would indicate, but still, he's been able to do a nice job going out there looking like a completely different pitcher. Last year, he was getting no strikeouts whatsoever, at about 5.3 strikeouts per 9 innings, up to about 8.2 strikeouts per 9 innings this year. 320 ERA, 377 fielding dependent. The walks per 9 rate is down to 3. The home runs per 9 rate is down to 0.9. I really like what I've seen out of him thus far this season, and Dustin May got off to a very shaky start to the season, to say the least. He's been looking a little bit better for the Cardinals. Right now, he's got a 5.15 ERA, but a 3.82 fielding dependent. He's only given up 0.7 home runs per 9 innings, but the strikeout stuff has been way down. 6.1 strikeouts per 9. That said, you take a look at what he's been able to do recently, and he's given up 8 earned runs over the course of his last 5 starts. He's went at least 5 1/3 innings in all 5, so that's signs of positivity there. So I did set my total 7.9. I do like the under, even though the Cardinals have been shaky with their bullpen, to say the least, but it does feel like they're starting to figure it out. Jojo Romero was off to a little bit of a rough start to the season. He's been looking a little bit better here recently. They are starting to realize that they probably shouldn't be giving innings to Matt Savanson, Ryan Stanek, who have north of a 6 ERA. George Floriano is still a guy that I don't trust him, but Gordon Gaseffo, sub 325 ERA. Ryan Lee O'Brien has been pretty solid as well, and it's a Cardinals team that's slightly above league average with regards to run scoring. Jordan Walker has been carrying the mail, 10 home runs, 383 on base, and then you got a pair of guys in Alec Burleson, JJ Weatherall, give you between about a 350 to a 355 on base. Ivan Herrera only hits for about like a 242 with the average, but he just finds ways on 400 with regards to his on base. Victor Scott, Pedro Paz, a few of the ancillary guys aren't giving you a ton, but they're getting back Nathan Church, who's been able to give you a bit of power as well. And for the San Diego Padres, it has been quite a bit of a struggle in terms of this offense. Fernando Tatis Jr. still stuck on 0 home runs thus far this season. The Mexico City series made the offense look a little bit better than what it is, and obviously when you're playing out there in Petco, that's going to suppress the offense a little bit as well. Xander Bogaerts has probably been your best producer. 355 on base, 7 home runs. He's been able to do a nice job there, and for Tatis, at the very least, he's still give you about a 320 on base and getting thrown out stealing, but that said, you just need a little bit more in terms of some of these other guys in terms of moving the line, like Manny Machado, Machado, Kevin Sheets, Ramon Laureano, Jackson Merrill, Jay Cronenworth, all hitting at 230 or lower, and Cronenworth is hitting a $144. Now for Sheets, he's up to 5 home runs this season, and you've been able to get a bit of something out of some of these mix and match guys like Miguel Andujar has been hitting at 300. The pride and joy of this team, though, is a bullpen. Last year, they were number one in terms of bullpen ERA. Again, that Mexico City series did warp their numbers, and you have seen Adrian Morejon get off to a little bit of a rough start to the season. He and Jeremiah Estrada above a 4.50 ERA, but it feels like they're starting to find it. Bradley Rodriguez is actually giving you a sub-2 ERA. Jason Adam, Mason Miller, these guys have been absolutely locked down, and I do think that they're going to be able to get it done in a little bit of a lower scoring game. Willing to go up to a minus 152 on that Padres money line, and like the under, somebody told 7.9. 907, 908 on the card. It's the Metropolitans. They're going to be on the road. They're facing off against the Arizona Diamondbacks as Clay Holmes is on the bump for the Snakes, and you've got one Mr. Merrill Kelly who's going to be going for the Diamondbacks. Diamondbacks do find themselves between even money, seeing minus 102 as good as plus 104 out there, between minus 114 to minus 122. That number on the Metropolitans, 8.5 is the total. Over is minus 120, and the under is even. I set the Mets out of minus 103, so plus 104 or higher. I'm going to be taking a look at the Arizona Diamondbacks on the money line. Now for Merrill Kelly, it's been a no good, very bad, terrible year. And for the Mets offense, it's been a no good, very bad, terrible year. So a situation of something's got to give. Merrill Kelly right now a 9.95 ERA since he went and got traded to the Texas Rangers in the back half of 2025 has not been the same guy this season. 8.14 fielding dependent, 2.8 home runs, 7.1 walks per 9 innings. He's giving up more walks than he's getting strikeouts this year, but a big elixir to that, going up against a Mets offense that is second worst in all of baseball in terms of run creation. Juan Soto's been solid, 4 home runs and 81 at bats, sitting darn near a 300 going into yesterday. He, along with MJ Melendez, were the lone two guys in the starting lineup yesterday for the Mets that entered the game with above a 243 average. Right now for the Mets, they don't have a single guy above 4 home runs on the roster. Mark Vientos is giving you a little bit of power, but he's been all over the place. The Marcus Semien deal is blowing up in their face. He, along with Bo Bichette, both hitting below a 240 with no power. And for the Diamondbacks last year, they were a top 5 team in terms of run creation. They've been down a little bit with that this year. Part of it has been the injury to Lourdes Gurriel. Has yet to hit a home run, but now he's starting to get on base. They get back Gabriel Moreno, who is on the injury list for quite a bit as well. And you've had somebody like a Jose Fernandez moving the line, hitting about a 290. Guillermo Vargas, 6 bombs. He has been incredible for this team. Geraldo Perdomo having a little bit of a down season. Corbin Carroll's been a little bit shaky here in the last few weeks, but still 5 home runs. He's giving you over 325 on base. And then for the Diamondbacks, it is a bullpen that has been in the bottom half of the big leagues in terms of ERA. They've had a few injuries with AJ Puck still being on the injury list, but Ryan Thompson last year had a 350 ERA, should be able to round into form. Taylor Clark, Juan Murillo, both have a sub 350 ERA. Paul Sewald is just not a guy that I trust him, but Jonathan the Wise gets halfway decent. And for the Mets, the main guys have not been good in the bullpen. Devin Williams is just terrible. Luke Weaver starting to round into form, but still posting up over a 450 ERA. It's been Oscar Brisbane, Austin Warren, along with Brooks Raley, who will be able to give you a sub 3 ERA. They've put Craig Kimbrell into high leverage spots. I have absolutely no idea why they should not be doing that. And for Clay Holmes, if you look at the ERA and if you look at the way that he's been able to keep the ball in the yard, it's been very rock solid. He's been able to induce soft contact since he came over to the New York Mets last season. A 3.15 ERA down to a 169 this far this season, but with that 169 ERA here in 2026, 365 fielding dependent, he's only giving up 0.6 home runs per 9 innings, but 6.5 strikeouts, 3 walks per 9. I do think that he's doing for some regression there, so plus 104 or better. Going to be looking at the Diamondbacks on the money line, and I do like this total to the over. Somebody told it at 8.7. 909, 910 on the card. It is the Pirates. They are going to be on the road facing off against the San Francisco Giants. We do know that Braxton Ashcraft is going to look to not be a load of Ashcraft here for the Pirates, and as of right now, the betting board does read to be determined for the San Francisco Giants, but you are seeing a lot of openers out there right now with the Giants. You're going to be getting them right around about even money to minus 104, minus 110 to minus 112. That number on Pittsburgh, and I'm seeing a 7.5 total out there. The over is minus 115 and the under is minus 105. There's been a little bit of, shall we say, question mark with regards to the Giants pitching over the last few days because there's like Robbie Ray trade rumors and everything like that, but this should be Landon Roop here for the Giants, and assuming that it is Landon Roop, I'd be willing to take a shot on the Giants. I'd be willing to go up to a minus 110. This is despite the fact that I really do like Braxton Ashcraft as a pitcher. He has been sensational for the Pirates ever since he got called up to the big league level last season. Thus far, 3.02 ERA with a 2.99 fielding dependent. This year, 9.7 strikeouts, 0.6 home runs allowed per 9 innings, and he does get to go up against a Giants lineup that, out of the 30 MLB teams, you guessed that they are currently 30th in terms of run creation, just have not gotten anything whatsoever out of Rafael Devers along with William Adames. Like, my goodness. Both of these guys are hitting below a 220 225. Both of these guys are stuck on 3 home runs. Neither of these guys are drawing walks. It has been horrible. Casey Schmidt has been bailing out the team. I mean, he's hitting darn near 300 with 6 home runs, and you've got plenty of guys that move the line like Drew Gilbert, Jung-Ho Lee in the outfield are hitting above a 255. Luis Rise continues hits above 300. Obviously doesn't draw a lot of walks himself, but he's doing an okay job there. Eloy Ramos moves the line, just no power out of the team whatsoever. And then for the Pirates, you've got O'Neill Cruz, who he's not necessarily the world's greatest in terms of getting on base, but 9 home runs, and he's hitting much better than the 200 that he had last season. Marcell Ozuna has been a disappointment. Have to figure that he finds it, but Colin Griffin, after a rocky first week or two of the season, getting called up to the big league level, he's been able to look a little bit better. Brian Reynolds, Nick Gonzalez, they're giving you over a 350 on base. For the Pirates, this is a pretty respectable bullpen. We're starting to see a little bit of regression with a few of these guys. Last season, you had Dennis Santana supplying a sub-250 ERA. That has gone northward a little bit, but some of the mix-and-match guys like an Evan Sisk, along with Mason Montgomery, they've been able to give you a sub-350 ERA. Yohan Ramirez back to about a 4 ERA. And the one thing that the Giants have been able to hang their head on all season long, this has been a team that's been either first or second in the National League in terms of bullpen ERA. Caleb Killian has been a really good find. He's been able to give this team a sub-2 ERA. Matt Gage has been able to give you a sub-2 as well. Joe Piero, you're getting him off the injured list. JT Brubaker, Keaton Wynn, they're able to give you some long relief. And for Landon Roop, and he's been plenty solid this year. 9.8 strikeouts per 9 innings. He's got a 3.18 ERA, has allowed just 1 home run in 39 and 2/3 innings. Recognize that the north of 3.5 walks per 9 innings is a little bit of a concern, but I think that this is going to be a nice little scoring game. Set by total 7.2, like the under, and we'll go up to a minus 110 here on that Giants money line. 9-11, 9-12 on the card. You've got the Braves, and they're going to be on the road against the LA Dodgers. Blake Snell is on the bump for the Dodgers, and Spencer Strider goes for Atlanta. The Braves are between plus 139, plus 145 underdogs. Meanwhile, minus 165 to minus 170. That number on the Dodgers, 8.5 is the total. Over is minus 120. The under is even, and I'm going to be willing to back the Atlanta Braves here. I was willing to go plus 140 or better with them. Recognize that for Spencer Strider, not a great start to the season for him. 3 earned runs given up in 3 1/3 innings. Strider did look good in his minor league rehab appearances, but still, I don't think that you can gather too much from that. And last season, obviously, had his big struggles. 4.45 ERA, 9.5 strikeouts per 9 innings is way down from 1.4 runs, 3.7 walks per 9 innings. It just frankly has not been healthy over the last few seasons. But for Blake Snell, he just always gets off to really rough starts to the season. Like his career ERA in May is right around about a 4.57, with giving up about 1.4 home runs and over 4 walks per 9 innings after the first month or two of the season. It just feels like he always finds it. Like, you even go back to his season debut a few years ago when he was coming off the injured list, back when he was with the San Francisco Giants. That was a rough one where he gave up 3 runs over the course of 3 innings. You go back to the 2023 campaign when he was a little bit just shaky that season, gave up 3 runs in 4 1/3 innings. I don't expect a lot of length here, and that means that a Dodgers bullpen, which has been about league average in terms of ERA, they're starting to improve that a little bit. They are probably going to be seeing a lot of action in this one. Now, I like Jack Dreher, Alex Vesia, sub 3.25 ERA last season, and last year it was a relatively rough season for Tanner Scott, but he's back below 2.25 ERA. He's looking like the guy that was one of the best relievers in all of baseball a few seasons ago. That said, you saw Edwin Diaz on the injured list. Will Klein has been a bit up and down, and for the LA Dodgers, as strange as it is, they've been much better with their run creation away from home rather than at home. 4.6 runs per game at home, over 5.9 runs per game away from home, and it's been a little bit up and down over the last 10 or so days. It just feels like they're in a little bit of a rough, aside from Andy Paz, who had that 3 home run game against the Astros. He's been hitting a 335 with 8 home runs. He has been sensational. Max Muncy, about a 4 on base. He's supplying 9 home runs, but you've had a little bit of a rough start to the season for Kyle Tucker. It does feel like he's starting to pick it up a little bit. You've been dealing with the injury to Mookie Betts as well. Shohei Ohtani, 6 home runs at a 250 average entering in the day on Friday. You just expect a little bit more there. Will Smith, Freddie Freeman, they're getting on base, honestly providing a lot of power, and the Braves are number 1 in terms of run creation with about 5.7 runs per game. Ozzie Albies, Drake Baldwin, Matt Olson, all at least 8 home runs and a 300-plus average going into yesterday. Just absolutely wild. With Olson up to 13 home runs, he's on pace for 50-plus this season. Mauricio Dubon is moving line. Dom Smith, he's hitting at 325. Michael Harris, he's been able to find it this season. And for the Braves, this is a team that's in the top 5 in terms of bullpen ERA. Tyler Kinley, since coming over from the Rockies, a sub-250 ERA for this team. Dylan Lee has been rock solid. You now have Ronaldo Lopez, who you can rely upon on the bullpen. Raciel Iglesias is off the injured list. So I do think that the Braves do go out there, get the job done, and I don't think that Blake Snell's long for this game. Plus 140 or better, like the Braves on the money line, and I'm in on the over. Semi-total 9.1, 913, 914 on the card. The Angels are going to be on the road against the Blue Jays. Trey Savage is on the bump for the Jays, and Jack Kachanowicz is on the bump for the Halos, and the Angels do find themselves as a sizable underdog here between plus 144 to a plus 150. Meanwhile, minus 170 to minus 180. That number on Toronto, it is the total. The over is minus 110, and so is the under. And for the Blue Jays, if you're looking to lay a run half with them, you're finding that right around about a plus 110, plus 115, and pretty much any sort of plus money. I'm going to be willing to take a shot on the Blue Jays run line. I set mine at a minus 104 for Trey Savage. It's been a small sample size for him of 9 1/3 innings this far this season, but he's looked very sharp. He's only given up 1 run. His strikeouts per 9 rate, it's just a hair below 9, but that's going to be coming along for the ride. They're easing him back, and for Jack Kachanowicz, this has actually been a really nice renaissance season for him. He was absolutely terrible last year. 6.81 ERA. He was giving up 4.7 walks of 5.8 strikeouts per 9 innings. He's still at, though, 4.6 walks of 6.5 strikeouts per 9 innings. It's down to a 3.05 ERA. I don't think he's as bad as he was last season, but I see some massive regression here, and for the LA Angels, this team is in the bottom 3 in terms of bullpen ERA. Drew Pomeranz is right now above an 80 ERA. They just have a lot of guys in general that do not belong on big league rosters. Ryan Zephyrion has not been good in this bullpen. Nick Sandlin has an ERA that's above a 10. Like, my goodness, this is not great to say the least. And for the Blue Jays, they're back to right around about league average in terms of bullpen ERA. Jeff Hoffman got demoted from the closer spot, very rightfully so there. And then you've been able to have 3 guys that you've really been able to rely upon in this bullpen, in my opinion. Brandon Fisher, Louis Varland, along with Tyler Rogers. These guys have all given you a 2.75 ERA or better. And for the Blue Jays, this is a team that's currently in the bottom half of the big leagues in terms of run creation. They've dealt with a lot of injuries. Don't call Zane Leander Kirk, along with Addison Barger being on the injury list, and George Springer has just been in and out in general, so his numbers are down. That's because of a lot of injuries. But for the Blue Jays, they're actually number 1 in terms of fewest strikeouts on a per at-bat basis. And you've got guys that are moving the line, like Ernie Clement is able at a 280. Andres Jimenez is able at about a 260. Need more guys that draw walks for this team. You've been able to have Davis Schneider be able to do a little bit of that, but they could use a little bit more. Vlad Jr. still stuck on 2 home runs. He had just 23 during the regular season last year. Still giving you over a 400 on base. So Miles Straw, he's hitting at 300. Kazuma Okamoto, he's been really bailing the team out in terms of power, 9+ home runs out of him. And then on the flip side for the Angels, Zach Neto got off to a really nice start to the season. He's had only 1 home run over the last 3 weeks. He's hitting at 220, so that's an issue. Yohan Moncada, Josh Lowe, both of these guys are running below a $185. They're kicking the tires on Adam Frazier, hoping and praying for a little bit of offense out of him. Mike Trout continues to be Mike Trout, over a 400 on base. He's been able to give you 11+ home runs, most of those coming on the road. But again, hard to be able to trust in this bullpen, and I do see massive aggression for Kachanowicz. So for the Blue Jays, any sort of plus money, I'm going to be in on the run line, and I do like this total to the over. I did set my total at an 8.1, 915, 916 on the card. It's the Athletics. They are going to be on the road against the Baltimore Orioles. The Wizard of Boz, Shane Boz, goes for Baltimore. Aaron Zavalli goes for the Athletics, and the Athletics do find themselves as a underdog here between plus 105 to a plus 115. Meanwhile, minus 130 to minus 140 is that number on Baltimore 9 is the total. Over is minus 115 to minus 120. Under is between even and minus 105, and for the Orioles, set them at a minus 144. So I'm going to be willing to take a shot on this money line. Now for Aaron Zavalli, he's gotten off to a pretty nice start to the season. ERA in that neighborhood about a 295, but field independence more than a point higher at 398. He's getting just 6.6 strikeouts per 9 innings. He's reduced on the walks, fewer than 3 walks per 9 innings, but it does feel like this is an Orioles team that is going to be able to continue to get it going with their offense at home. They're averaging over 5 runs per game at home, and hey, they had a Tupac bobblehead giveaway yesterday, so that'll get the people going. Now they do need a little bit more at the bottom of the lineup. You've been having Tyler O'Neill, Kobe Mayo, Colton Cowser, guys like this, hitting at 225 or lower. And Gunnar Anderson, while he's been able to give you some good boom, he's up to 9 home runs. He's hitting like a 200 with a 263 on base. Ali Rushman has been down with regards to his power. Same goes for Taylor Ward. Ward had 30+ home runs last season. He's down to 1 this season, but both guys are doing plenty in terms of getting on base. Adley Rushman, 370 on base, over a 4 on base for Taylor Ward. So do like what those guys are bringing to the table. Leody Taveras, Weston Wilson, they've been solid as well. And for the Athletics, this is a team that's averaging about 4 runs per game away from home. That's outside the top 20 in the league. They are getting back Zach Galoff, though. He's been able to do a nice job, move the line, give you a bit of power. Shea Langolaris has been incredible. 11 home runs, hitting well above a 300. He has been banging, so Shea bangs. But Brent Rooker, down season, he had a home run in that series against the Phillies. We'll see if that gets him going. And then you've got the wrong Max Muncy currently on the injury list. Low key, Carlos Cortez is hitting above a 350. He has been incredible for the team. And for the Athletics, about a league average bullpen right now, which considering their home ballpark is Sacramento, that's not bad. You want to avoid Mark Leiter Jr., but that said, Joel Kuhnel, Jack Perkins, Justin Sterner, a lot of guys give you a sub-4 ERA. Hogan Harris has been relatively solid, and for the Orioles, they did have to place Ryan Helsley on the injury list, but Ynier Cano, Rico Garcia, these guys have been able to give you a sub-3 ERA. Dietrich Enns has been pretty good as a long guy. Andrew Kittredge, since coming off the injury list, has been absolutely awful long. Keegan Aiken, those guys should be able to come along for the ride a little bit more, and I do think that for Shane Baz, we are going to be seeing some positivity out of him because the ERA is relatively grody right now, but it's not because he's giving up home runs. For Baz, he's only giving up about 0.9 home runs per 9 innings. The strikeout stuff has been very much down for Baz here. It's only about 7.5 strikeouts per 9 innings, but a 4.99 ERA, 4.15 fielding dependent. I did as a result of, I told it an 8.6, so on the 9, I'm going to be looking at the under, and for the Orioles, willing to lay up to minus 143 on the money line. 9.17, 9.18 on the card. The Rays are going to be on the road against the Red Sox. Peyton Doley is on the bump for the Red Sox, and Nick Martinez goes for the Rays. Total on this game, it is 8 over and under anywhere between minus 105 to a minus 115, and for the Red Sox, they are currently a favorite of between minus 150 to minus 156. Meanwhile, plus 128 to a plus 136 is that number on the Rays. For the Rays, anything a plus 124 or higher, I'm going to be in on the money line. Talked about this with our good friend William Boor, and I just am not really a believer right now in the Red Sox, and this Rays team is undervalued. Now, Nick Martinez is not going to continue to a 1.71 ERA. He pitches to a whole bunch of contact. He's right now getting only about 6 strikeouts per 9 innings, but hey, doesn't hurt himself. 2.1 walks, 0.6 home runs allowed per 9 innings, 345 fielding dependent. Again, that's a little bit concerning, and for Peyton Doley, this has been a really nice start to the season for him. He's had 3 starts. He's had 2 really good ones, had 1 little bit of a turd, but still, 2.04 ERA, 246 fielding dependent, 11.7 strikeouts per 9 innings. Did have a 6.06 ERA with 2.8 home runs allowed per 9 innings last season, though. So, lefty, I think he's going to be very solid moving forward. I don't think he's as good as indicated right now. And for the Tampa Bay Rays, this has been an offense that has been relatively solid. They are a team that's averaging about 4.8 runs per game away from home. That is a top 10 mark in all baseball. Junior Caminero was able to supply 44 home runs last season. He's back up to right around about 340 on base, 8+ home runs thus far this season. Jonathan Aranda has been great with over a 360 on base. He's been able to supply 7 home runs. Andy Diaz has given you a 400 on base. Heck, you're now finding production out of Ryan Vilde and guys like this. Nick Fortes is moving the line for this team. And for the Red Sox, last year they were a top 6 team in the big leagues in terms of run creation. Just been way down this season. They do have to place Roman Anthony on the injury list, but he wasn't getting a lot going. Just about a lot of these infielders like Trevor Story, Caleb Durbin, they need to get going. It's an outfielder, but Jarren Duran, all 3 of those guys, they're in a 210 or lower, but even the catcher spot has been rough for the team. Masataka Yoshida, Weiler Abreu, and Wilson Contreras, all these at 370 on base, and Contreras has been your main boom man, being able to give you 8 home runs thus far this season. For the Rays, this team is still in the bottom half of the big leagues in terms of bullpen ERA, but it's starting to stabilize. Cole Sulzer, Brian Baker, these are guys that have been able to give you a sub 350 ERA. Garrett Clevenger is coming off the injury list. He's looking a little bit healthier. Hunter Biggie is a guy that I think has a little bit of upside, and on the flip side for the Red Sox, they were actually second in the big leagues in terms of bullpen ERA last season. Greg Weiser is right now supplying an ERA well above a 4, and Zach Kelly, he's been okay this season, right around about a 3.30 ERA. You know what you're going to get out of Roldis Chapman, but the question is getting to him. Garrett Woodlock has been a little bit down from a season ago, and I do think that both of these starters experience some regression, so my total's 8.6. I do like the over, and for the Rays, we'll take plus 124 better on the money line. 919, 920 on the card. The Twins are on the road against the Guardians as Sander Bribey goes for the Guardians, and you've got Joe Ryan going for Minnesota. Minnesota is about a pick 'em here, anywhere between even money to minus 108. Slim favorites are the Guardians at minus 108 to minus 118. Total is 7.5. The over is minus 120, and the under is even. And when it comes to the Cleveland Guardians, I'm going to be willing to back them. I set them at a minus 131 on the money line. For Joe Ryan, he throughout his career has always given up the deep ball away from him. He, for his career, gives up about 1.54 home runs per 9 innings. And I do think that he's doing for a little bit of positivity this year. 3.72 ERA compared to a 3.01 fielding dependent. 9.3 strikeouts, 2.3 walks allowed per 9 innings. But still, he's backed up by a bullpen that is just absolutely terrible. 29th out of 30 teams in terms of bullpen ERA. Cody Funderburk Funderburk has been okay. He's been able to give you a sub-3 ERA, but every one of these other bullpen pieces is a big giant turd right now. Luis Garcia, Anthony Banda, Taylor Rogers, Eric Orze, Justin Topa, all above a 4.50 ERA. Like, there's just nobody other than Funderburk that you can rely upon right now. And for the Cleveland Guardians, it was a little bit rough going for them with their bullpen to begin the season, but now you've got Eric Sobrowski really being the stabilizer for the team, sub-3 ERA. Tim Aaron, I don't think has given up a run this far this season. Hunter Gaddis began his season on the injured list. He's starting to round into form. Kate Smith, he had a little bit of shakiness in the first 2 to 3 weeks of the season. He's been looking a little bit better for the Guardians. Still bottom half of the big league team in terms of run production, but Austin Hedges is hitting. Like, I don't know who abducted Austin Hedges and replaced him with a catcher that could actually hit, but he's hitting above 300. So you will take that. Chase Lauder, the power that we saw in the first week of the season has waned, but he's still hitting a 300. You do need more guys that can move the line, though. Kyle Manzardo, Jose Ramirez, Steven Kwan, Bo Naylor, Reese Hoskins. Really, all these guys are at 225 or lower. Travis Bazana has been struggling a little bit at the big league level, but got his first career home run yesterday, so that's big. And Jose Ramirez still give you about a 340 on base, but just need to find a way to be able to move the line. And for the Minnesota Twins, Byron Buxton has like 10 home runs over the last 30 days, so he's been able to find it. And then you've got plenty of power on this team because Matt Wallner, Cody Clemens, 20 plus home runs last season, but both of these guys are hitting right now below the Mendoza line of a 200. You've been able to get some relatively good production out of a guy that I like in Austin Martin, who's been able to give you over a 430 on base, but Royce Lewis has just really struggled. He has to be dealing with injuries right now because he just does not look right, to say the least. Victor Caratini's not really moved the line for you, like what I've seen out of Brooks Lee, sitting about a 270, but I just cannot trust in this bullpen. And for Tanner Bybee, he's had some very stark home and road splits over the last few seasons, because for Bybee, right now he is supplying an ERA that's a little bit above a 440 and home runs per 9 rate that's right around about 1.4, but you look at what he's been able to do at home thus far this season, a little bit over 20 innings. He's only given up 1 home run. He's got a 166 ERA. 8.10 ERA with well over 2 home runs allowed per 9 innings when he's on the road. And you go back to last year, 3.22 home ERA with about 0.8 home runs allowed per 9 innings at home. On the road, giving up 1.8 home runs, 5.17 ERA. So I do think that for the Guardians, they do find a way to be able to get the job done here. And I do think that it's going to be a lower scoring game. Somebody told us 7.2, so I do like the under, and I'm willing to lay the money line of the Guardians up to a minus 130. 921, 922 on the card. It is the Seattle Mariners on the road against the Chicago White Sox. Anthony Case is okay to another start, and Luis Castillo is on the bump for Seattle. Seattle minus 120 to minus 140 favorites, between plus 115 to plus 120. That number on the White Sox. 9 is the total. The under is minus 110 to a minus 115. Over is minus 105 to a minus 110. And I'm actually going to be in on the under. I set my total at an 8.7. Now, while the White Sox are really doing a great job banging out the homers, they are about 7th in the big leagues in terms of home runs on a per at-bat basis. They're also a bottom 5 team in terms of batting average, so they are a little bit all or nothing. And I will say this for Luis Castillo. Big-time home and road splits last year. Last year, he had a sub-270 ERA at home, over a 450 ERA away from home, and he has not been right this far this season. 6.29 ERA, but 424 fielding dependent. 1 home run, 8.1 strikeouts per 9 innings. Are they peak Luis Castillo numbers? No, but I think that he's pitched much better than what the raw numbers would indicate, and I do think that there's some positivity, despite the fact that he's going to be on the road in this one. And then for Anthony Kay, well, it's not been very okay this far this season. He's right now supplying a 5.70 ERA, has looked a little bit better recently, with 2 earned runs or fewer allowed in 3 out of his last 5 starts, but he's not really a strikeout artist. He's right now giving up 1.8 home runs, 4.5 walks per 9 innings, while getting just 6 punch-outs per 9, and for the White Sox, this is not a good bullpen, to say the least. You've got Sir Anthony Dominguez as your closer, and you're relying upon Jordan Hicks for key leverage spot innings. That is not a place where you want to be. Jordan Leisure is leisurely, give you a 5+ ERA. Sean Newcomb has honestly not been too bad for this team. Grant Taylor has been okay, but again, for the White Sox, who's going to be the guy that consistently gets on base? Because you've got Montaka Murakami, who's up to 15 home runs now. He's giving you about a 375 on base. You've been able to get a little bit of something out of Sam Antonassi, who's now been able to give you over a 350 on base. That's been solid. Colson Montgomery, he's been able to provide the power as well. 9 home runs, hitting about a 226. But hey, 335 on base, you'll take that. But you need more out of Andrew Benintendi, who's been way down from where he was a season ago. Edgar Chiaro, Luan Acuna, these are all guys, they're giving you less than a 300 on base. In the case of Benintendi, 232 average. Those other 2 guys are in below the Mendoza line of 200. And for the Mariners, this team was averaging about 5.1 runs per game away from home last season. They have been in the bottom 5 in terms of run creation away from home this season, with about 3.7 runs per game. Getting back Brendan Donovan should be able to help. In the small sample size we've seen from this season, he's been able to give you 400 plus on base, and they've needed that because Cal Raleigh has been able to give you 7 home runs, but he's hitting a $175. He's not finding a way on. Josh Naylor and Julio Rodriguez are rounding in form after rough starts of the season, as these the guys are back above a 300 on base. Randy Arozarena, he's not providing a ton of power, but he, J.P. Crawford, Cole Young have been all able to give you at least a 345 on base. But for the Mariners, this has been a very locked down bullpen, even with Andres Munoz having his struggles. Like, Munoz is providing a 6 ERA, and that's supposed to be the closer. You got Gabe Spire, Matt Brash on the injury list, but Edward Bazardo, Jose Ferrer, Cooper Criswell, these are all guys give you a sub 3 ERA. They've had Casey Lugumina be able to give you a few okay innings as well. So I do think that for the Mariners, they should be a bit of a favorite here. I still do have question marks with Castillo on the road, though, so I could only set this at a minus 121. Right now, we are starting to see the Chicago White Sox at a plus 120 or higher. If we can get to a plus 122 or better, which we should on the dime lines, going to be looking at the White Sox on the money line and the under, so I might tell it at an 8.7, 923, 924 on the card. The Detroit Tigers are on the road against the Kansas City Royals as Michael Wacha, and if he has a bad start, it's a dying Pac-Man voice of Michael Wacha goes for the Royals, and time end is on the bump for Detroit. Detroit does find themselves as underdogs between plus 110 to a plus 115, minus 130 to minus 136. Then around the Royals, 9 is the total, over is minus 120. The under is even, and for the Royals, I set them at a minus 148. I do like them on the money line. Fences got moved in at Kauffman Stadium prior to the start of the season. That's why you've got massive home road splits right now with the Royals offense. 5.2 runs per game at home, a league worst 2.9 runs per game away from home. But hey, Michael Wacha has been pretty superb this far this season. The strikeout stuff is up a little bit. It's not like he's been amazing with regards to command or anything like that. He's been giving up about 1 home run, 3 walks per 9 innings, but he's been steady enough to be able to stabilize things with about a 3.05 ERA. And then on the flip side for Ty Madden, really good first appearance of the season. He had 5 shutout innings. That said, you look at what he did at the minor league level. He was giving up 5.1 walks, 1.3 home runs per 9 innings, 4.71 ERA. It was a little bit of a surprise that he was pitching on that day as well, because keep in mind, Tariq Skubal, he hit the injured list. He was pressed into action in a very last-second sort of dire situation. So I do think that the element of surprise helped him out there. And for the Tigers, this is a team that has been able to do a nice job in terms of reaching base. Power is starting to come back for this team, but Kevin McGonigal, Riley Green, they're hitting right around about a 300. Avi Baez obviously doesn't draw any walks whatsoever, but he's been able to hit above a 265. You still need a little bit more on some of these guys like a Wencio Perez, Matt Vierling hitting below 225, and Perez has been just absolutely terrible. And Spencer Torkelson is hitting for no average whatsoever, but a 330 on base. He's been able to give you 6 home runs. Gary Carpenter averages down, but he's been able to give you 6 home runs as well. And then on the flip side for the Royals, Bobby Witt Jr., he's down with his power with 4 home runs, but still hitting darn near 300, and all 4 of those home runs have come really in the last 3 weeks. And you've got guys that are moving the line for the team. Kyle Isbell's giving you a 340 on base. Jack Caglione, Isaac Collins, they've been hitting about a 250 apiece, and Collins up over a 350 on base. Miguel Garcia is hitting at 270. You just need more out of Vinny Pasquantino, Salvador Perez. Both have 4 or 5 home runs apiece. You need more power there from a pair of guys that are combining for less than a 260 on base. And for the Royals, this is a bottom 10 team in terms of bullpen ERA. I think that the ship is going to be righted, though. Alex Lang has been providing well above a 6 ERA thus far, after he was actually very rock solid a few seasons ago, back when he was ironically enough with the Detroit Tigers. He's been able to get quite a bit more out of the likes of Matt Strahm recently. Nick Mears has been a stabilizing force for the team. He's been able to give you a sub-2 area. They're dealing with Carlos Aceves being on the injury list, and Daniel Lynch is a pretty good long guy. So I do think that for the Royals, they're starting to find it a little bit more. Luinder Avila probably going to see some more innings. They might be demoting Alex Lang relatively soon as well. And then on the flip side for the Detroit Tigers, it's a bullpen that I think has a lot of upside as well. It's going to be spent a lot more with Skubal currently being on the injury list. But that said, you got guys like Tyler Holm, Brian Herter, along Kyle Finnegan that all supplied a sub 3.25 ERA last season. Holden has been up to about a 5 ERA. That should be coming downward. Birch Smith has been pretty good in a small sample size, though I don't trust in Kenley Jansen whatsoever, and I do think that Wacha gets the job done here. Set my line at a minus 148. Do like the Royals on the money line, and like the under. I did set my total here at an 8.6, 925, 926 on the card. It's the Astros. They're going to be on the road facing off against the Cincinnati Reds, and yes, we're on to Cincinnati. He's on to Chase Burns getting the start for them. Spencer Arrighetti, no, not Mom Spaghetti, is on the bump for the Astros. Total on this game, it is 8 to 8.5. On the over is minus 115, the under is minus 105. On the 8.5, under is minus 115, and the over is minus 105. And the Reds are between minus 155 to minus 168 favorites, plus 132 to plus 140. That number on the Astros. For the Reds, I set their money line price here at a minus 147. If you're looking to lay a run half with them, you're going to be finding that as high as about a plus 140, and I would be willing to take a shot on the run line at a plus 140 or greater, just because I'm going back to what we were talking about with our good friend in William Boor. I do think that there's a lot of regression here with Spencer Arrighetti. The ERA is sub 2. That's absolutely amazing, but the fielding Fielding independent is right around about a 388. He's given up 5.5 walks per 9 innings, and the Astros, again, dead stinking last in terms of bullpen ERA. Kai Tang has actually been relatively solid in the bullpen, but you've got so many guys that have been unreliable. Brian DeBreu, AJ Blueball, Aniel De Los Santos, Bennett Sosa, all these guys above a 450 ERA. Heck, even Stephen Okert, one of your best relievers, is up to about a 460 ERA. Josh Hader and Nate Pearson being on the injured list have just destroyed this team. And for the Astros, the offense has been solid. They've been a top 10 team in terms of run creation. Jose Altuve may not be what he once was, but Yordan Alvarez is in peak form, 420 plus on base. He's been able to give you 13 home runs. You've been able to get a lot of production as well out of Christian Walker, 8 plus home runs, 370 on base. Isak Paredes hasn't necessarily provided a lot of power, but move a line, give you about a 350 on base. Losing Carlos Correa is absolutely huge, but that said, you had Mr. Zach DeZeno, who I know is a highly touted young guy for the team. He's had a few cups of coffee at the big league level. He got a home run yesterday, and I do think that the Reds are going to round into better form with their offense. They just need the bottom of the lineup to hit a little bit better. TJ Friedel actually hits towards the top, and then Matt McClain, Cabrian Hayes, Will Benson, Tyler Stevenson. These are all guys hitting at 215 or lower without a lot of power. It's been Sal Stewart and Ellie David Cruz just trying to carry the team. 9 plus home run speeds. Both are giving you about a 330 to a 340 on base. Nathan Lowe has really been able to pick it up as well. He's up to 6 bombs, 350 on base. For the Reds, there was a time where they were number one in terms of bullpen ERA through the first about 4 or so weeks of the season. We've seen some regression here. Pierce Johnson is up to about a 4 ERA. Rock and Roll Burke has been fine with about a 325 ERA. Graham Ashcraft recognized that he had his struggles in that series against the Cubs, but he's been able to give you sub 2 ERA. Emilio Pagan's the injured list. Honestly, I don't think that that's a bad thing. I really don't trust in him. And for Chase Burns, I do think that there's going to be a little bit of regression here with him as well. For Burns, he's gotten off to a really nice start to the season. 220 ERA, but after he was getting north of 12 strikeouts per 9 innings last season. Been down a little bit with that this year to about 10 strikeouts per 9 innings. He's given up about 1.1 home runs, 2.9 walks per 9 innings for a 343 fielding dependent. So do think that you're going to get some scoring here. Semi-total at 8.7. I do like the over, and for the Reds, I'm willing to take a plus 140 or better on that run line. 927, 928 on the card. The Cubs are on the road against the Rangers as Jack Leiter looks to lighter it up for the Rangers. And you've got Edward Cabrera on the bump for the Cubs. The Cubs are between minus 130 to minus 143 favorites, plus 120 to plus 115. That number on Texas, 8.5 is the total. Over and under both at minus 110. For the Cubs, I'm willing to lay up to a minus 135 on the money line. For Edward Cabrera, even though the swing and miss stuff is down to a career low, hovering right around about 8 or so strikeouts per 9 innings, he's been plenty effective. 327 ERA, also a career low, about 3.1 walks per 9 innings. That has always been costly for him throughout his career. He's always given up too many walks. He's been able to do a nice job suppressing that, and now he gets to go up against a Rangers team that just has not been able to find their offense at home. 2.67 runs per game at home, and if you look at the ballpark factors, the Rangers are a top 5 ballpark, Arlington is, in terms of being able to suppress offense. That's why they're actually a respectable offense when they're away from home and at home. They're right now averaging the 2.7 runs per game that I was mentioning, and you just have some washed-up veterans in general, like Jock Peterson is giving you absolutely nothing for the team. Wyatt Langford, whenever he's out there, he's been not great. He's currently on the injury list, and they dealt with a rash of injuries thus far. Evan Carter is back. He's been hitting below Mendoza line, 200. Danny Jansen is hitting like a 200. You've had Brandon Nimmo, Ezekiel Duran hit about a 300, along with Josh Young, and then Corey Seager, along Jake Berger. They've been able to give you 6 plus home runs apiece. Neither of these guys are hitting above 215, though. And then on the flip side for the Chicago Cubs, this has been a top 6 team in terms of run creation. Ian Happ has not been Apples, about a 380 on base. He's been able to supply 9 plus home runs. Alex Bregman, not necessarily giving you a lot of power. He's still moved the line with about a 340 on base, but the entire catcher spot has been great. Miguel Amaya, Carson Kelly, Moises Ballesteros, these are all guys give you at least a 350 on base. Peter Armstrong, he had that big home run in the series against the Reds. He got off to a rough start to the season. He's starting to pick it up. Dansby Swanson has been able to hit 6 home runs, but you need a little bit more average there. But Nico Horner has been helping out with that, and Michael Conforto has been a really nice find for the team as well. For the Cubs, even though they've got like half their bullpen injured right now, like Caleb Theobar, Hunter Harvey, Riley Martin, Porter Hodge, you go down the list of injuries. You get back Daniel Palencia. I still am a big believer in Jacob Webb, who's been able to give you a sub 325 ERA dating back to the beginning of the 2025 season. And then for Jack Leiter, I feel like he's pitched better than the 545 ERA would indicate. His fielding independence is full point lower. He's been able to get about 10 strikeouts per 9 innings. He certainly does need to work on the walks. As for Leiter last year, he was given up in that neighborhood about 4 walks per 9 innings, and he's right back there this season. For Leiter, he's given up about 1.7 home runs, down to about 3.1 walks per 9 innings, but still, it's been a little bit shaky there. But again, I do think that pitching out there in Arlington is going to be able to help him out a little bit in terms of suppressing the offense. So I told 7.6. I like the under. And for the Cubs, Cubs, 1 lay up to a minus 134 on the money line. Wrap things up with 929, 930 on the card. It's the Yankees on the road against the Brewers. Kyle Larson is on the bump for the Crew. Cam Schlittler is on the bump for the Yankees. The Yankees who find themselves between minus 142 to minus 150 favorites. Between plus 120 to a plus 130 is that number on the Crew. 7.5 is the total. Unders minus 110 to a minus 120. The overs between even and minus 110. If you're looking to lay 1.5 with the Yankees, you're only going to be getting that at about a plus 120. And for the Brewers, I'm going to be willing to take them at a plus 132 or higher. Right now, we're only seeing plus 130, but when the dime lines come up, and I'll call it what it is, a lot of people are going to look to back the Yankees here. Should be able to get a plus 132 or better here. And it's not that I want to be fading Cam Schlittler because, man, this guy has been absolutely remarkable this far. A 152 ERA with a 174 fielding dependent. He has right now got a strikeouts to walk ratio of a 5.9. He has allowed a 1 home run in 47 and a third innings. I think we're going to see a little bit of a fall off there, but I mean, he has been superb, and that's a big reason why, even though this total is as low as it is at a 7.5, I'm going to be in on the under, but Kyle Harrison has finally put it together as well. This guy's been great. 2.12 ERA, 287 fielding independent, 10.5 strikeouts, 0.6 home runs allowed per 9 innings. It is a Yankees team that could be a little bit all or nothing at the plate as well. Giancarlo Stanton is right now dealing with a little bit of an injury. Ben Rice has been in and out of the lineup over the last few days as well. The Yankees didn't necessarily get the start that they were hoping for out of Max Fried yesterday, so that's an issue. And for the Brewers, you do get back Andrew Vaughn, who was such a big part of this team last season along Jackson Trio, and they just find ways to be able to move the line. Like Brandon Lockridge, Garrett Mitchell, these are guys who give you over a 350 on base. Bryce Terang, he's been leading the way with about 5 home runs. He, Gary Sanchez, along Jake Bowers, are all at 5 home runs apiece. The Brewers are, by the way, a bottom 3 team in terms of home runs on a per at-bat basis, but they just have so many guys that find a way on base that it's massive. It's pretty much the anti-Yankees, who you've got Cody Bellinger who's giving you a 390 on base. Aaron Judge, obviously, he supplies the boom. He's been able to give you 15 home runs, 400 on base. Should have Ben Rice available in this game, but don't know if he's going to be 100%. But so many of these infielders have been rough. The entirety of the catcher spot, Jazz Chisholm, along with Ryan McMahon. These guys hitting at 225 or lower. That's an issue now. The Yankees have rounded into form with their bullpen. They've been a top 8 team in terms of the bullpen area. I recognize that Camilo Duvall has not been great, but Fernando Cruz, Tim Hill, Brent Hendrick, David Bennar, these are all guys that have been highly effective thus far. Sub 355 ERAs out of all those guys. And Ryan Yarbrough is able to be a good long guy. And for the Brewers, Trevor McGill was acting up towards the beginning part of the season. Ebner Uribe has seen his ERA go above a 350, but the likes of DL Turner, Paul, Brian Fitzpatrick, Grant Anderson, Aaron Ashby, these are all guys they're able to lock it down. So plus 132 or better, which I think I should be getting when it's all said and done. Going to be one take shot on the Crew on the money line, and do like the under. Somebody told 7.4. That'll wrap things up for the Saturday edition of the Baseball Betting Show, now part of the VSiN family of podcasts. Big thanks to William Boor, who does such great work over at Action Network. He joined me in the last segment. If you do like hearing from this fine podcast, Baseball Betting Show, you're able to subscribe wherever your podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Spotify, Stitcher, and TuneIn. If you have a question, comment, segment idea, what have you for this podcast, you have one of 2 ways we offer those in. First one is my Twitter/X timeline at @GUNit_81. Keep in mind, Larsiam, they mean does not matter. So, per usual, please do send these into the timeline. And the other way is find an Apple Podcast review. If you rate this podcast 5 stars, it's very much appreciated. And then from there, you're able to fire in whatever you'd like to hear on this podcast via that 5-star review. Coming at you guys every single day with picks and analysis on every game every day. So, I'll be back with you once again tomorrow. Thank you.